Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Elivaras, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer. Today, Pippington, leading the forces of the Greenskins, takes on CR leading the Warriors of Chaos. This is another episode of Strategical Analysis. We're going to be diving deep into tactics and strats. So, let's start off with the comps here. We have the Beastmen, led by Pippington, of course. 4 units of Black Orcs, 2 units of Savage Orc, Biggins on the flanks. Azeg the Slaughterer bringing Soulblight, Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech riding atop his Wyvern. A Giant and 2 units of Orc Boarboy Biggins on the flanks. Very interesting Chaos comp. I'm going to go into these 5 units in a second here. But we've got 2 units of Chaos Warhounds with Poison. We have a Chaos Lord on a Chaos Dragon, I believe. He's got those few abilities there. He's got his Potion of Toughness, obviously, for the health. Chaos Sorcerer of Death riding a Manticore, who has Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. And now in the Chaos backline, we can see a mix of Forsaken Chaos Marauders and Chaos Warriors with Halberds. And in the back, Chaos Marauders. Now, the interesting thing here with the Chaos comp is the 5 units of Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes. So what looks like CR was going for here was he's got, his main army deployed back here, kind of corner camping, and it looks like what he's going to try and do is push the Marauder Horsemen. He's going to take them, and he's going to push forward, right? And he's going to sit about here and just about that far ahead, and he's just going to pour shots into these Black Orcs because they are armor-piercing. They do have armor-piercing missiles, and obviously they're very fast. So the Greenskins will not be able to catch them. And I forgot to mention, Greenskins have Mogrub's Mangy Marauders here. Armor-piercing, very fast. Missile Cavalry, who are immune to Psychology. And the Chaos Sorcerer, along with the Chaos Lord, might have to be a little careful here from the arrow fire, as they are big targets and could take a decent amount of damage. So it looks like what might happen is you might have a Spirit Leech battle here, where Azeg the Slaughterer has a Spirit Leech off with the Chaos Sorcerer of Death, as they do both have Spirit Leech. And we are going to see here now the Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes are now about to chuck their axes into the front of the Black Orcs. And we're going to have to see how exactly they fare, because this is not a comp you see often, and I'm not exactly sure how well Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes are going to do against Black Orcs, but let's see how much damage can be put down here. If we go into play, I'll probably get a nice slow-mo of this in the post-edits. And they actually did quite a bit of damage. About 1 volley from each of them takes this unit of Black Orcs down to about 66%. So not too bad. That's actually quite a bit of damage. And considering now they can just continue to kite backwards and then continue to fire in, this could be pretty devastating for the Greenskins if they don't do something about this. Now, we do see the first Spirit Leech going down on Azeg the Slaughterer from the Chaos Sorcerer of Death, and it is answered in kind by a Spirit Leech from Azeg the Slaughterer. Now, it looks like the Chaos Warhounds with Poison are trying to catch Mogrub's Mangy Marauders, but are cut off by the Black Orcs. It looks like he was not able to get a flank here. I don't know if he, micro-mistake here, but they end up getting caught on the Black Orcs and the Savage Orc Biggins. Not what they really want here, as that's going to be a very bad engagement for them. They're going to get torn to shreds. And we can see Pippington now bringing forward the Orc Boarboy Biggins to try and reinforce his army against these Chaos Warhounds with Poison and hopefully shut them down pretty quickly. Now, the Chaos Sorcerer of Death has taken more damage than Azeg has. And we can see again here, Marauder Horsemen throwing a volley of Throwing Axes into the Black Orcs, and actually, doing tons of damage. See this Black Orc unit below half already after probably 2 volleys. And we're going to see some evasive maneuvers here from both Mogrub's Mangy Marauders dodging the Chaos Warhounds and Azeg the Slaughterer using his Foe Seeker. Very, very good that he brought Foe Seeker, or this could have been very bad considering the enemy does have Foe Seeker, would be able to run him down. Now we see a Fate of Buna on Mogrub's Mangy Marauders, and that ends up bringing them down ridiculously fast. They basically go from almost full to nothing in a span of like 10 seconds. So a very good value Fate of Buna there. We can see Spirit Leeches again just being cast, and Azeg the Slaughterer and some evasive maneuvers trying to get away from this goon squad here of the Chaos Lord atop his Chaos Dragon and the Chaos Sorcerer of Death, who has popped Arcane Conduit in an attempt to get more spells off. We can see this unit of Black Orcs essentially obliterated as they try and push forward. We can see the Marauder Horsemen again just kiting backwards and trying to do as much damage as possible. Still about half of their volleys left, and they've already taken out. They've made this unit of Black Orcs useless. This unit's below half. This one's at about probably 70%. We can see Pippington's doing a great job here of running Azag around. Especially, it's very hard to do this, constantly pay attention to this when you're trying to micro everything else in the battlefield. So props to him, keeping Azag alive here. You can see the Chaos Sorcerer has taken a lot of damage, and now Orc Boar Boy Biggins are going to be charging up the flank towards the Marauder Horsemen. See if they can cut them off and do a decent amount of damage, potentially catch them and shut them down. Now Greenskins finally getting in range of the Chaos line. So something interesting here, the Giant is at full health. I'm not entirely sure how much damage the throwing axes would do to the Giant, but considering the Giant is a huge target and a lot of them would hit, it might have been worth it if he decided to take these throwing axes and hit him at the Giant beforehand. Bring that Giant down, because obviously the fear and terror caused by the Giant could wreak havoc on the Chaos line if they are not careful, if they start to take a lot of damage. So the Giant is at full health. We'll have to see how that ends up working out. He is still firing into the Black Orcs, which is not a bad choice, but he's in a little bit of an issue here where both units are kind of off to the side, but they're both hitting the very corner of the Greenskin line and really only hitting 1 or 2 Black Orcs with those 2 volleys. So it would have been better if he'd had them positioned kind of here. I suppose, fire in forward rather than fire in their face rather than on their flank. But we see a nice charge from the Orc Boar Boy Biggins, catching the Marauder Horsemen unawares and hopefully going to be doing quite a bit of damage, although most of the Marauder Horsemen do seem to manage to get away. We've got a unit of healthy Savage Orc Biggins along with a unit of Black Orcs that are going to be pushing forward, and it looks like the Chaos line is going to start to get engaged upon pretty soon. Looking back to Azag the Slaughterer, still having a Spirit Leech off with this Chaos Sorcerer of Death. One more Spirit Leech should do this Chaos Sorcerer in, and it looks like it's going to happen. His health is going to run out, and he is probably going to be fleeing quite soon. Do see 3 units of Marauder Horsemen throwing axes finally coming in from the flank. I think now would be a great time to send all 3 right into the Giant. That would probably do quite a lot of damage, but they get caught up and charged by these 2 units of Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Oh, that's going to be devastating for them. They do not want to be in that engagement. And now, as they pull out the Forsaken, come in to reinforce. You can see the Greenskin lines have engaged with the Chaos, with the Warriors of Chaos. And now that the Chaos Sorcerer of Death has routed from the battlefield, we're going to have to see if Pippington can get this Chaos Lord off his back. And we're going to see an amazing play here. We can see Azag the Slaughterer is going to dive into the fray through an attack order, a melee attack order on these Chaos Marauders. And Ciarnor does not catch this clever play here, and he sends his Chaos Lord into the mix. But all of a sudden, Filth Mace is popped, his speed is dropped, his damage is dropped. He's not going to be doing much damage to Azag, although Azag is very low. But now look at this. Very clever trap here as the 2 units of Orc Boar Boy Biggins come in for a full surround. Stand your ground, and Wa are popped. This is going to be devastating for the Chaos Lord. We can see a Spirit Leech as well. Oh my word. This is bad news for the Chaos Lord. He completely gets outplayed here and absolutely obliterated. The Giant on him, completely surrounded, and he's going to have a hell of a time trying to get out of this trap. Chaos, we can see Azag the Slaughterer diving back in, chucking him down. Chaos Lord is essentially dead here. A huge swing for the Greenskins. Very well played by Pippington to lure the Chaos Lord into that trap. Whoo, boy. Now we can see the Chaos line over on the Greenskins' left flank is doing quite well, eating away at these Savage Orc Biggins and these Black Orcs, but the center is not doing well. Again, we can see that fear and terror from the Giant is working to devastating effect on the Chaos line here. The Giant essentially still at full health. Nothing can really take him down. I feel like, he should be taking his Marauder Horsemen. Ciarnor should be taking his Marauder Horsemen, firing into this Giant, take him down, get that terror off the battlefield. But I don't know where he's bringing them at the moment. He's currently just, you know, kind of running around. Azeg the Slaughterer coming to help his units here rout these Forsaken from the battlefield as the Orc Boar Boy begins. Apologies for that. Are going to be taking on this Marauder Horseman, these units of Marauder Horsemen, chasing them from the field as they are wavering and routing now. Another unit of Marauder Horsemen here in pursuit, trying to throw their axes. I would not be throwing axes at these guys. They're going to turn around, run them down, potentially kill them. Get your axes on where they're needed. Into the Black Orcs, into the Giant. You know, it's a little bit wasted here. You know, you're throwing armor-piercing axes at a unit of Savage Orc Biggins. I would say, you know, the Giant, because he's a huge target, very hard to miss, or the Black Orcs, because these missiles are armor-piercing, but currently they're just standing around firing at Savage Orc Biggins. Not the best choice here, and now we do see Chaos Marauders routing from the field, and it looks like it's going to be down to the units of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. We can see Azeg also taken quite low. Some projectiles leaping into, not leaping, but getting thrown into the air. A lot of misses there, unfortunately. Accuracy doesn't seem to be too good with that throw. And now we see the Orc Boar Boy Biggins crashing through the remains of the Chaos lines to try and catch these Marauder Horsemen, but they do... No, they don't end up turning around. They're going to keep going. Definitely interesting here. A lot of the Chaos lines are running away. Most of the Chaos high health units are the Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, and sadly, they're not going to be doing much damage in melee. These ones do have a lot of their quivers still left here. And again, they're firing into Orc Boar Boy Biggins. I guess not a terrible target because they are larger, but standing that close to them is definitely going to be a problem, especially when they start getting that charge in, that speed boost. And this is going to be bad news. They're probably going to be routing pretty quickly. Unit of Marauder Horsemen essentially full health here. We're going to see what he can do with that. Can he pull a miraculous comeback? It's not looking good for CR here. You can see Azeg leaping in to rout these Marauder Horsemen from the field, apply that final leadership penalty that is needed to take them out of this fight. Again, just a few units of Marauder Horsemen left. This is not looking good for the forces of Chaos. Looks like this last one unit here that's still at decent morale is going to charge into the Savage Orc Biggins, do a pretty crappy amount of damage considering they're ranged units. And in comes Azeg to finish them off. Leadership penalty going to be enough to send these guys out terrified, and this match ends in a Pyrrhic victory for Pippington. Definitely some very interesting comps on both sides. Mogreb's Mangy Marauders got decimated by that Fated Buna. That was a beautiful Fated Buna. Absolutely destroyed them. Ciarnar got completely outplayed with that beautiful dive in from Azeg, led by Pippington, of course. Pippington deciding to dive Azeg into the ground by attacking one of the routing Chaos units. Chaos Lord, or Ciarnar, does not pick up on that fact, charges right in after him, and then we saw Spirit Leech, we saw whatever else decreased his speed, don't remember what that one was called, decreases speed, decreases damage, so it wouldn't do as much damage to Azeg, and then a full surround off, we saw Wah popped, we saw that charge defense, we saw that extra melee defense, and the extra leadership, full surround, Orc Boar Boy Biggins charging in, and the Chaos Lord got decimated in seconds. That was beautiful. Definitely the turning point in the battle. If Ciarnar had not fallen into that trap, I feel like he could have won. Overall, it was pretty well played on both sides. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes doing a surprising amount of damage to these Black Orcs. Like, they absolutely shredded them. A little bit cheesy in the corner camping, but Pippington played it very well. Definitely some evasive maneuvers there. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Strategical Analysis. If you've got any replays you would like featured, feel free to send them over to me at elivarsloa@gmail.com. I hope you all enjoyed and had a great, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And so to end off with the classic ending, I would like to thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers, guys.